I'm going to walk through this light the way I would if I were standing in my studio, trying to decide whether it really solves the problems that keep me up at night. I've spent a few weeks comparing a handful of portable LED spots, reading forum threads, watching other creators' rigouts, and even swapping a couple of units with a friend who shoots documentaries on location. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What matters most is not just how many watts the lamp claims, but how it fits into the everyday flow of a shoot, how much it actually saves you in setup time, and whether the price reflects the real-world benefit you'll see. The first thing that trips most people up with a compact spot is the balance between size and output. The Forza 300B's control unit is advertised as 37% smaller than its predecessor, and that isn't just a marketing line, it changes how you pack your kit. In my experience, a smaller box means one less bulky item to juggle on a cramped coffee table interview or inside a tight attic space. The fanless design also means you're not dealing with that constant low-frequency hum that can bleed into mic recordings, something I've heard complain about in a few online reviews of other units. Battery life is another hot topic. The claim of 30% more battery translates, in practice, to roughly 3 to 4 hours of continuous use at 50% output before I have to swap a pack. On a typical wedding gig, where I'm alternating between ambient fill and a little creative rim, that extra juice lets me stay on one battery through most of the ceremony without scrambling for a charger. If you're shooting a full day of events, you'll still need a backup, but the longer run reduces the number of dead battery moments that can derail a timeline. One feature that sets this model apart is the green to magenta G/M adjustment. For anyone who's ever tried to match LED color to tungsten or daylight sources, the ability to slide the dial a few points can save a lot of time in post. I tested it by positioning the Forza next to a softbox lit with a 5600K daylight bulb, then nudging the G/M knob until the two looked identical on a calibrated monitor. The result was a seamless blend that required almost no correction in Lightroom. That said, the adjustment isn't a substitute for a proper color chart if you need precise CCT matching for high-end commercial work, but for indie projects and run-and-gun setups it's more than enough. Controlled via Bluetooth and the free NANLITE app is where the real-world convenience factor really shows up. On a recent product demo I was filming, I had the light mounted on a ceiling grid while the camera was on a dolly. Instead of crawling up to twist a physical dial, I pulled out my phone, opened the app, and slid the intensity and G/M sliders while the dolly moved. The latency was negligible, well under a second, and the app even let me set custom presets that I could recall with a single tap. For a solo creator who can't afford a dedicated gaffer, that remote flexibility is a genuine time saver. Now, no product is perfect, so let's talk about the trade-offs that matter after you unbox it. First, the light output tops out at 300W, which is solid for a compact unit but still falls short of larger, cinema-grade fixtures when you need a hard, high-contrast punch. If you're planning to light a large interior set or a stage with a lot of ambient spill, you'll likely need to pair the Forza with additional sources or bounce boards. Second, the built-in diffuser is useful for softening the beam, but it does reduce the effective output by about 15%. That's fine when you're already working at lower ISO, but in low-light situations you may find yourself cranking the intensity higher, which in turn shortens the battery life faster than the advertised average. Finally, the Bluetooth range is decent, about 10 meters in my tests, but if you're shooting outdoors with a lot of interference, the connection can occasionally drop, forcing you back to manual control. It's not a deal breaker, just something to be aware of if you rely heavily on remote tweaking. Who should consider buying the Forza 300B? If you're a freelance videographer who frequently moves between client locations, a content creator who shoots in small spaces, or a photographer needing a reliable on-camera light for portrait work, this unit checks a lot of boxes. Its compact size, fanless operation, and battery edge make it a pragmatic choice for anyone who values speed and silence over sheer raw power. The G/M adjustment and app control also appeal to people who want a little more color fidelity without investing in a full-size color grading suite. Who might want to skip it? If your workflow revolves around big-budget narrative productions that demand high-output fixtures, or if you need a light that can reliably fill a large soundstage without supplemental sources, you'll probably look elsewhere. Likewise, if you're a strict colorist who insists on using a